They say the LeBron era destroyed the NBA. Let's check it out.
It's not
Let's
because
check it
of
out.
what Chandler did that was so flagrant. You can't adjust to the reaction.
Oh, the flopping shit. Bro, they was fouling the shit out of my nigga Bron. He wouldn't get no calls, bro.
You're a phony. Lakers furious. They thought he was fouled. Excuse me. And it's now overtime. Oh, somebody pick him up.
As I'm sure you guys know, when it comes to NBA fans,
Here we go.
as well as current day NBA players, there's a massive rift between the old school and the new school. And this rift, it's always been there, but now in the 2020s, it's bigger than ever. And for a lot of the current players, what they have about the old school, they always call them soft, so their era was better, it was tougher, so on and so on. And look, sometimes it can be a tad much, they can overdo it, I understand that. In other cases, they're 100% right and hit the nail on the head. Case in point with LeBron James. LeBron James recently, out of nowhere, complained about a flight from LA to Milwaukee for a preseason game.
You got a point though, gang.
You serious?
If you want to stop being called soft, entitled, and pampered, stop acting soft, titled, and pampered. As these comments, they fit into a heated critiques of old school players about the current NBA. And look, for LeBron specifically being 39 going on 40, him playing the preseason shouldn't be a big deal if he sits. I actually understand it. My problem with LeBron's comments, these comments were made in the first place. You're the face of the NBA, a pillar of the NBA. Some would say the most influential player.
Yeah, I feel him though, bro. You probably shouldn't be doing that, gang, because that ain't gonna do nothing but trickle down to the youngins. You know what I mean?
What is that, a new bear?
Having comments like these, it makes you look entitled, pampered, and downright elitist. And compared to past eras flying on luxury planes, that back in the day did not happen. For the majority of NBA teams into the mid-1990s, they were flying coach with civilians. And I think it was the Pistons in the late 80s, they were the first actual NBA team to have a private plane all to themselves. Besides that, every other team, flying coach or flying with civilians. And to kind of contrast LeBron's era in the 2020s,
Yeah, shit, boy.
back in the 80s, early 90s, look at the story from Larry Bird from 1986.
Back then when we flew commercial, we didn't fly private. We played in a Tuesday night game in Cleveland. And of course, we got up for the first flight out. We had a game on Wednesday night in New Jersey. Snowstorm hits Cleveland. We're at the airport at 7 in the morning. Flight's canceled at 7. It's canceled at 8. It's canceled at 9. It's canceled at 10. Canceled at 11, 12. We finally leave about 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon. We fly up to New Jersey. Now the storm has kind of moved into Jersey. And the bus driver says, well, I can't get to the hotel into the arena. I can only go to one place.
Ain't been out of walk.
We had a game that night. We go to the arena. So we get to the arena, and I mean, we're dragging. And we're sitting on the locker room, and, everybody's kind of, we're tired. And, and all of a sudden, the coach gives a little bit of a speech of, come on, man, guys, we're playing basketball. Let's get ready to go. And Larry stands up, and Larry says, and a couple other few choice words, and he says, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to take it out on their rear ends. So I was like, oh, all right, so let's go. So we go on the floor.
Type shit.
King sitting there. Larry walks up to Albert King and goes, don't take this butt whooping personally. I've been eating hot dogs all day. And then Albert King looks at him like, you've been eating hot dogs all day? What's that got to do with me? And we went out and just hammered him. I mean, we terrorized them.
Damn, I ain't know that, though. That's crazy.
I mean, he just played, and I tell you, that was just his competitive nature. But
So stopping Kevin McHale right there. Back in the 1980s, someone like Larry Bird, they could be at the airport for hours on end eating hot dogs, still go on the court and perform, and not complain once. Now in the 2020s, we have NBA superstars complaining about luxury flights from LA to Milwaukee. And look, I can't pinpoint the date, the time, the exact year this changed, but the NBA of the 80s and 90s, during Bird's reign, Magic's reign, up to Jordan, Kobe, all those guys, there was no excuses, no complaining to the public or the fans. You just did your job, played hard, and played through injuries. And looking back at Bird's Celtics team, 86, they played a total of 18 back-to-back games. And of course, Bird played in every single one of them. Boston in 2024, their team had 11 back-to-backs, nearly a 40% decrease in back-to-back
But if you
games.
think, if you look about it, I said if you look about it, if you think about it, bro, niggas back then they was getting hurt every year, and then as soon as they retired, bro, they can't even walk no more. They back thrown out. Like Larry Bird, his back is in shambles right now. That nigga can't even lift up his that nigga can't lift up a baby.
Games. And despite that, current day players still complain about the schedule between back-to-backs and so on and so on. My overall point is pretty simple. Players in past eras, a much tougher schedule, much more rigid schedule that wore your body down 10 times faster. Nowadays, players have top-tier everything. The trainers, the travel, the food.
And them old
they
niggas just
have it all.
jealous. That's all it is.
And
Them
why
old
they
niggas
have
jealous
that,
as hell,
these players
man.
in the past actually showed up, played through injuries, and played as many games as possible for the fans.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
And I want to make one point very, very clear. What I'm saying about the current NBA doesn't apply to every single superstar. As looking at someone like Tatum, he's one of the rare young stars in the league today who values playing every game, whether it be on ABC, TNT, NBA TV, or not televised at all.
I only get to go to Charlotte 2 times a year. Somebody paid their money to come watch me play. Like, not trying to be arrogant, like it's a bunch of kids in there, my shoes and my jersey on. And just because we playing Charlotte on NBA League Pass on a Monday that ain't nobody watching, I'm chilling tonight. That's not what the great players, the best players do.
Now,
You got a
Tatum's
point.
comments
Shout out
right
to
there,
Tatum for that.
A lot of the younger NBA superstars,
For sure.
a lot of them believe of the exact same thing. Guys like Edwards, Luka, SGA, even Jokic and Giannis, kind of the older stars of that era. These guys don't have the entitlement mindset of a lot of the older NBA stars. Guys like LeBron, Harden, Kawhi, and especially a Paul George. What the NBA needs desperately is an attitude change from their stars. And I think that new era of players, they're going to bring a fresh new attitude we haven't seen in quite some time.
For
And
sure.
once again, looking back at that past era of players, someone like Paul George, he boils my blood. This guy on the court, rarely if ever healthy, and the playoffs, an absolute disaster.
George. Way
Shit.
off the side of the backboard.
Yeah.
Ball games.
In a lot of ways, George kind of a poster child for the modern NBA star. As looking at all the stops in his career, Indiana, happy at first, got angry, forced his way out, got his way. Okay, fine. Went to OKC, choked in the playoffs, got a big-time contract. Then, very shortly after, betrayed them, went to the Clippers. Then, of course, with the Clippers, lots of high expectations, again, didn't deliver on. So what happened? He left yet again.
Got a point.
Paul George's overall career is kind of the archetype of the modern NBA player. They get praised, get tons of money, don't play their injuries, eventually underachieve, get mad, then leave. So that right there is the end of the video. And my final point, these current day NBA stars
So basically-
don't know how good they have it. Massive contracts, overinflated contracts,
Yeah.
first-class flights, facilities, training, they've got it all. And still, time and time again, they complain, just kind of act like crybabies, and simultaneously downplay past eras that had it much, much harder. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.
So basically, he's saying that these niggas soft, and they definitely are, bro. Paul George, he was spot on. Paul George, you ain't do shit in the playoffs, bro. Like, I don't know. We gonna see how this year play out though, for sure.